The Gambino Crime Family, a legacy of power in crime. The Gambino Crime Family, one of the 5 families that control organized crime in New York City, has a storied and infamous history. Its reign, spanning decades, has been marked by influential leaders, notorious crimes, and a legacy of power. In this video, we will trace the footsteps of the men who have led this notorious family, delving into their lives and the impact they've left on the criminal underworld. Number 1. Carlo Gambino, the family's namesake, 1957 to 1976. Carlo Gambino, born on August 24, 1902, in Palermo, Sicily, migrated to the United States in the 1920s. Rising through the criminal ranks, he became an influential member of the Mangano family, which he would later rename after himself. In 1957, after the mysterious disappearance of the then-boss Vincent Mangano and the murder of his brother, Phil, Gambino took control of the family, sidelining potential rival Anastasia. Under Carlo's leadership, the Gambino family became one of the most powerful criminal organizations in America. He emphasized a more covert, business-like approach to organized crime, expanding operations into areas like loan sharking, extortion, gambling, and the hijacking of cargo. By the 1970s, the Gambino family reportedly had over 500 made members. Carlo was known for his cautious approach, often avoiding the limelight and using diplomacy over violence whenever possible. His reign was mostly peaceful, leading to stability and growth for the family. He died of natural causes on October 15, 1976. Number 2. Paul Castellano, the white-collar Don, 1976 to 1985. Paul Castellano, born on June 26, 1915, in Brooklyn, was chosen by Carlo Gambino as his successor, a decision that would lead to tensions within the family, especially with the up-and-coming John Gotti. Unlike his predecessors, Castellano had a more business-oriented mindset and shifted the family's focus to white-collar crimes, notably infiltrating the meat and construction industries. He was known to emphasize legitimacy, pushing for investments in legitimate businesses to launder the family's illicit earnings. Despite his efforts to maintain a facade of respectability, Castellano's leadership style created rifts. He was viewed by many as out of touch, favoring his immediate family members over long-standing members of the organization. His mansion in Staten Island, sometimes referred to as the White House, became a symbol of his detachment from the family's rank-and-file members. The tensions reached a boiling point when a plot was hatched by an ambitious faction led by John Gotti. On December 16, 1985, Paul Castellano and his underboss, Thomas Bellotti, were gunned down outside Sparks Steakhouse in Manhattan, marking the end of Castellano's reign and paving the way for Gotti's era. Number 3. John Gotti, the Teflon Don, 1985 to 1992. John Joseph Gotti Jr., born on October 27, 1940, in the Bronx, New York, emerged as one of the most infamous figures in American organized crime history. After orchestrating the assassination of Paul Castellano, he assumed leadership of the Gambino family. Gotti was known for his flashy style, a stark contrast to the more reserved mob bosses of the past. He was often seen in well-tailored suits, earning him nicknames like the Dapper Don. His repeated ability to avoid convictions, mainly due to witness intimidation and jury tampering, led to another moniker, the Teflon Don, suggesting charges simply didn't stick to him. However, this resilience would not last forever. In 1992, with the help of Gotti's underboss, Salvatore Sammy the Bull Gravano turning state's witness, the government successfully prosecuted Gotti on charges of murder, racketeering, and other crimes. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Gotti was incarcerated at the United States Penitentiary in Marion, Illinois, where he spent the majority of his sentence in solitary confinement. He passed away on June 10, 2002, due to throat cancer. Number 4. John Jr. Gotti, stepping out of the shadow, 1992 to 1999. John Angelo Gotti, commonly known as Junior Gotti, was born on February 14, 1964, in Queens, New York. Following his father's incarceration, Junior was thrust into the leadership role of the Gambino family. His tenure was marked by significant challenges, as law enforcement kept a close eye on the family's activities. Throughout the 1990s, Junior faced a series of legal battles, getting arrested on multiple occasions. However, like his father, he initially managed to evade lengthy prison sentences. By the late 1990s, amid growing pressure and internal strife, Junior made public statements about wishing to leave the world of organized crime. In 1999, he accepted a plea deal, admitting to various crimes and agreeing to serve a reduced prison sentence. His decision to take a plea deal, combined with his expressed desire to distance himself from the mafia, marked a significant departure from his father's defiant stance against the authorities. Number 5. Peter Gotti, Keeping It in the Family, 1999 early 2000s. Peter Gotti, born on October 15, 1939, in the Bronx, New York, was the older brother of the infamous John Gotti. After his nephew, John Jr. Gotti, began to distance himself from organized crime, Peter stepped up to assume leadership of the Gambino family. However, Peter's reign was not characterized by the same level of deftness or charisma as his younger brother's tenure. By the early 2000s, law enforcement was closing in. In 2002, Peter was indicted on charges of racketeering and money laundering. The following year, he faced additional charges of conspiring to murder Salvatore "Sammy the Bull" Gravano, the underboss whose testimony had led to John Gotti's conviction. By 2004, Peter Gotti was convicted on both sets of charges and received a combined sentence of over 25 years in federal prison. His incarceration marked the end of the Gotti family's grip on the Gambino crime syndicate. Number 6. Dominico Salvatore, the Quiet Dawn, early 2000s to 2010s. Born in Palermo, Sicily, in 1947, Domenico Italian Dom Salvatore emigrated to the United States and quickly became involved in organized crime. When he assumed leadership of the Gambino family in the early 2000s, the organization was reeling from law enforcement scrutiny and internal discord. Salvatore's approach was markedly different from his predecessors. Shunning the media limelight and public displays of affluence that characterized the Gotti era, he adopted a low-key, traditionalist approach to leadership. This shift in strategy was indicative of a broader movement within the mafia towards secrecy and discretion in response to intense law enforcement attention. Under Salvatore's watch, the Gambino family focused on core illegal activities, emphasizing loyalty and discipline. By maintaining a relatively low profile, Salvatore evaded the sort of high-profile prosecutions that had plagued the family in the past. Despite his discreet approach, he was not immune to the law. Throughout the years, he faced multiple charges, including extortion. By the mid-2010s, it was widely believed that Salvatore had stepped down from his leadership role, passing the reins to his underlings while still holding significant influence behind the scenes. Number 7. Frank Calli, the modern-day Don, 2010s-2019. Frankie Boy Calli, born on March 26, 1965, in New York City, was known for his discreet leadership style, in line with his predecessor, Dominico Salvatore. Calli's roots can be traced back to Sicily, and he had strong ties with the Sicilian mafia, which were believed to aid in drug trafficking operations. He became the underboss of the Gambino family in 2012 and was instrumental in the growth of its narcotics trade. By the mid-2010s, Frank Calli assumed the role of the family's leader. Unlike the flashy mob bosses of yesteryears, Calli preferred staying out of the limelight, further insulating the family from the kind of scrutiny that had led to numerous convictions in the past. His efforts seemed to work. The FBI even noted that the Gambino family appeared to be gaining strength under Calli's tenure. However, this era of relative tranquility ended abruptly on March 13, 2019, when Calli was shot and killed outside his home in Staten Island. The nature of his assassination, reminiscent of old-school mob hits, shocked many, as it diverged from the low-profile modus operandi that Calli had cultivated. Number 8. Post-Frank Calli, a shroud of mystery and speculation. Following the sudden and brutal assassination of Frank Calli, the leadership of the Gambino family has been a topic of much debate and speculation. One name that has often surfaced in the aftermath is Lorenzo Mannino. Believed to have been a key figure during the Salvatore and Calli eras, Mannino is said to hold significant sway within the family. Another contender for leadership is Dominic "Skinny Dom" Pizzonia. A reputed capo in the Gambino family, Pizzonia has a long history of involvement in organized crime, and his name has been associated with several high-profile incidents related to the mafia. However, given the secretive nature of organized crime and the lessons learned from past indiscretions, the Gambino family has been remarkably adept at concealing its internal workings in recent years. The lack of concrete information regarding its current leadership underscores the organization's renewed emphasis on secrecy and discretion.